Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a really lovely day. You join me today for another declutter video. There is a particular area in my house that, to be quite honest, has been driving me a little bit bonkers because it's such an awkward space that I'm really struggling to keep it organised and tidy, and it's becoming a bit of a problem. And that is my airing cupboard, which I suppose if you are living somewhere that isn't in the UK, you may refer to it as a linen closet. It's basically a space in my house, and it's quite common in a lot of houses in the UK where you will probably store your towels or your bedding and things like that. It can also be a space used to air out clothes if you want to hang them to dry, for example. An airing cupboard is a really good place to do that, and it generally is kept warm because you have your water tank for your heated water in this cupboard, in this closet. Now, that's what makes it really annoying. People across the UK may have their water tank in there, which can be varying in size up to really, really big and taking up most of the space in the closet. There are a couple of things that you could find in these closets, and because of these things that are in there, the storage space available can be really tricky to use. Mine, for example, the tank takes up most of it, and then there's also two smaller tanks on the top, which just make the actual space a really bizarre shape to use. So trying to get some sort of organisational system in place that will fit in the first place is really, really difficult. I've measured it all out, and the distances in just about all dimensions fall just short of near enough every standard sizing of some sort of unit or storage system I can come across. So it is one that is a real pain, and I've looked online for videos similar to this, and I think because it is probably quite a UK specific issue, there are not a lot of videos on it, and because from house to house I think a lot of people's airing cupboards are different in terms of what's in there and the sort of space they have and the available shelving that is already in there. It's kind of a difficult one. So if you are living in the UK and you are having the same sort of issue as I am, hopefully this video will help you. Going into this, I don't actually have a proper game plan yet. I'm just going to empty it out, sort through everything, and see what system I then need to put in place after that. So this is going to be a bit of a declutter, a lot of organisation, and so if you're looking for a video like this, then I hope it will help. And if you are watching from anywhere else in the world, you'll see what I'm talking about when I say this is what we have to sort of deal with in British homes. So I'm going to take you out onto the landing. Again, I'm not sure if that's a British thing that I'm saying, but the space at the top of the stairs, sort of like your upstairs hallway, I guess. That is where the airing cupboard is kept, but because it's in like a hallway and there's no windows in the hallway, it's quite dark, so I wanted to just film the intro in here just so you can see me. But I will show you the state of my closet as it is at the minute, because it's gotten to the point where originally when I started it was quite organised, I kept it quite organised, but now when I put things back, whether it's towels or bedding, I'm not putting them into any particular place because they don't really have a particular place. So it's all just stacking up, and I'm living in fear that I'm just going to open it and it's eventually all just going to come crashing down on me because it is starting to lean slightly. It's really embarrassing and I need to sort it out. So we'll head on over there and I'll show you what we're dealing with. So this is the closet I'm talking about. It's just here at the end of the landing. It's not a very big open space back here, but this is where it is. And this is what it looks like inside. So in terms of a space, there's a lot of space in here. It's just a lot of it is taken up by the water tank, which is this huge thing here. There's a lot of piping going on, and this I think is pretty standard in British houses, that it's just sort of out here and a bit of an eyesore really. And as I said, I've also got these two other smaller tanks up here which are kind of in the way, and that's what makes this upper space so difficult to deal with because it makes it an awkward shape. Now there's quite a bit of space down here at the front, and I originally thought this would be a good space to have some storage systems, but this is also a really good space to hang things to dry if I need to use this space to air dry anything. And so I would really prefer it if I could make the most of the space at the top for storage of things like towels and bedding. I would rather be able to use that space up there than this space down here. So I'm going to start emptying out, and we will just go from there and see once this space is empty and we've done a bit of a declutter and I've decided what I need to keep and how much space I'm going to need, then we'll go from there. So I'm going to take these items back through into the other room where I've got a bit more space, and I'll go through them, decide what I don't need anymore and what can be decluttered. Okie dokie, time to start going through it all, I suppose. So I think I'll begin by pulling out just the items that I know I use all the time that I definitely want to keep, and I'm going to start placing them into piles, like categories, so sort of my towels and face cloths, my husband's towels and face cloths, sort of spare ones we have towels for our downstairs loo, we have bedding sets, so we're just going to start and pull things out and go through it all. So I've started with towels and such items to begin with, because when I started to look at the bedding I realised it's going to need to have its own section of time dedicated to it because it looks like it's going to be quite a mission. So to begin with I have sorted out, so these are just sort of my towels and face cloth items. I am very themed in the pink department just because that was what I was going for in my bathroom when I moved in. I really liked this blush pink colour, so these are mine. Then these are my husband's, so his are more sort of greys and blues. Then these are a bit of a combination, so we don't actually have a guest bedroom, so it's very unlikely that we would ever have guests, but I do like to keep some face cloths because even if someone's sort of visiting for just the daytime and they're not staying over, they may wish to freshen up. So I have got just a few guest items as well as a few towels that we use specifically for our downstairs loo, so that's just sort of a section of it's sort of guest and the downstairs loo, which I guess in a way, even though it's not got a shower or anything, it is more of a guest loo. We don't really use it all that much because my husband uses the ensuite to our bedroom as his bathroom and I use the main family bathroom, if you like, as my bathroom. So because we each already have our own bathrooms, that downstairs one doesn't get used very often, so it's kind of a guest area anyway. So this is just sort of a guest department of towels and face cloths. And then I have all of these face cloths, some of which still have the tags on, they've never even been used, which I am going to declutter, and then one really large pink beach towel. I don't really think I need a beach towel. We live in the Midlands, which in terms of in the UK basically means you're as far away from any beach as you can be whilst being within the United Kingdom. So you can't live further away from a beach and live in the UK. As is, we are literally as far away, and so it's not very often I would go to the beach in England anyway. It's a cold country, so I can't really see me bikini on lying on the beach where I take a beach towel, and if ever I would go abroad I would not be wasting the space in my suitcase with an item this bulky. I would use the towels provided wherever we were staying, so I have no reason to keep a beach towel. So these are all on the declutter pile, and I am just going to move these other towels out of the way because I'm going to need a lot of space to tackle that bedding. So let's put everything up here. Okay, so to continue the sorting out of the bedding, and I've managed to make it even more scruffy than it was in the cupboard, I'm going to sort through, have piles of sheets and pillowcases that don't go with a particular set, and then where there's an actual bedding set with like the duvet cover and the pillowcases, I'm going to get everything in its full set and fold it up nice and neatly so it's easier to work with. If anyone has any advice on successfully folding a fitted sheet, please let me know, because I can't do it. One thing I always try to do before I let my airing cupboard just run away with itself and become really messy was to always keep the pillowcases, and if there is a specific sheet or if you have like secondary pillows and the pillowcases that go with those, a whole set fully together, so that when you come to change your bed you just have to pull out the whole thing and it will all be wrapped within that duvet set, so you don't have to then look through pillowcases separately and sheets separately. It's always just a full set ready to go. So I'm going to aim to try and do that and maintain it. One issue with that may be that you could only have 1 or 2 sheets, whereas you may have many bedding sets, and so you can't necessarily assign a sheet to every bedding set, and I definitely have that issue, but I'm hoping to declutter and hopefully only have as many bedding sets as I do sheets and pillowcases, so everything is a full complete set, and we will see how that goes. I'm all sorted, I've organised everything, and I think I've done an okay sort of job. So declutter wise, I have got 3 full bedding sets that I'm going to let go of. Oh, just another tip, if you're not a fan of wrapping all of your bedding set within the duvet cover, another way to do it is to put it all inside one of the pillowcases, so then you can just reach for that whole set, and again it's all in one place, this time just inside one of the pillowcases. So that's another way to do it. So I got rid of this old blue one. It's not one I reach for at all anymore. I was given this plain sort of creamy yellowy beigey set, I think by my gran. She had it, she hadn't used it, and this was back when we were moving in to our house, and she just thought it might be nice for me to have another set just in case, but I haven't used it, so I'm going to let that go. And I've got a sort of cactus design one. I think I posted this once on my Instagram, and there were a couple of people that said how much they really liked it, but it's just starting to get a bit worn really. Just, it's getting a bit dingy. When you wash it, it doesn't feel like brand new anymore. I have had it for a few years and I just think it's time to let it go. I've then got a set of purple pillowcases that don't really go with anything, so they're going to go, and then just a set of white ones, which again are just starting to discolour now. They're just getting old and I think it's time to let those go. So they're all for the declutter pile. I'm keeping 1 spare mattress protector. The mattress protector I have is really high quality. I did spend a little bit more on this one when we bought our new bed and mattress. I thought it was really important to protect what we bought, so I bought a really high quality one. It was a bit more expensive, but I thought that was important. But I do want to have a spare, because you never know, if you spill something on your bed, if, I don't know, anything happens really, I think it's important to have a spare, because I don't want us to ever not have a mattress protector on the bed, and if I suddenly had to wash that one, it is a real challenge to get it dry whether you air dry it, line dry it, stick it in the tumble dryer, which you can only do on cold air. It just is a pain to dry. When I know I've got to wash my mattress protector, I get up first thing in the morning. It will be in the wash by 6 o'clock and it will probably only be just getting dry by about 10 o'clock at night, ready to go back on. So it is a real pain. So just having a spare as a backup is going to be useful. I have then kept, and this is going to probably seem a little bit too much, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bedding sets, plus there is currently a set on my bed, so that means I will own 6. Now, already in my head that sounds ridiculous and it sounds too much. They are all slightly different, which is why I have kept them, but I feel like I would be open to decluttering them. I'm just not certain at this point, whereas the other ones I was happy to just let go of. That was enough of that and sort of ready to move on. Whereas I think whenever you do a declutter, it is completely fine to give yourself sort of a trial period to see how much you use a particular item, because often when you start organising or you start decluttering, you find things you may have forgotten you had or something you haven't used in a while, but it might still give you the inclination to use that item. You might not want to part with it. So in the case of all my bedding sets, I'm going to give myself till the end of this year, so by Christmas, see which ones I use, and if I use them, great, and if I don't, then I know that I don't need to keep them and I can let them go. So the ones I've kept are it's almost plain white and it's just got some orange, brown, pink and yellow. It's got triangles on one side and then sort of symbols on the other side. I really like this pattern and I think it works lovely in my room, and it's the only other bedding set that I've got that's white. I've got completely plain white on my bed at the moment and that is my absolute favourite. But then this is another white one, so I'm keeping it. It's not very old, so I feel like decluttering it now is kind of a waste. So I would like to get a bit more use out of this one. Then I folded this one in such a way that you can barely see anything on it. But this is like a tropical island themed one. It's got like palm trees and bright pink flowers on, which I've had for a couple of years now, and I'm at the point where I feel like I'm ready to let it go, but this one was an expensive one. So again, there's that level of feeling like it's wasted if I just declutter it. And it is a gorgeous print. I do love the print, but at the same time I also love completely plain white, and I'm kind of in like two minds about what my preference is and which way to go. I think the majority of the time I will have the plain white on, and I don't know if at some point I will fancy putting this one back on. This is more of a summer themed one, so as I've said, I will go through until Christmas, so this will get the rest of the summer. We'll see if I use it, and if not, I know I can let it go. Now this one is probably the one I feel most guilty about keeping because it's the least used one, and that is the Christmas bedding set. I have put this on my bed every year for 3 or 4 years. I'm more inclined to say 3, but it pretty much goes on for 2 weeks in December. I'll put it on for a week, wash it, put it on for a week, wash it and put it away. And I do love it. I think it's gorgeous. I just don't want to let it go. Despite the fact that I love my plain white bedding, I feel like when you get into that Christmas spirit, I'm not the sort of person that likes to absolutely clutter my space with ornaments and decorations like that. I feel like a bedding set is the way to bring that nice warm Christmassy feeling and get you in the Christmas spirit without having to sort of clutter your space with lots of ornaments. So I actually feel like I'm going to be more inclined to keep this one than the last one, despite the fact that I barely use it, and it's not a very minimal thing to do, having a bedding set that you use for 2 weeks out of the year, but I'm a little bit attached. Then the next one is my I call it my autumn bedding set. So this is brushed cotton, so the whole set with the exception of the fitted sheet is brushed cotton. So it's just a lot warmer and it's in nice autumnal colours. So I do really like this one. This I would say is probably the highest quality. It wasn't the most expensive, but it is really gorgeous material. And it almost feels like it is still brand new despite the amount of wears it's had. So I don't want to part with this one just yet. We'll see through the autumn whether I put this on and how much I use it, and then we will decide from there. And then the last one is my winter bedding set, which is all entirely brushed cotton. Even the fitted sheet is brushed cotton, so no opportunity to get cold in the winter. Even for me, sometimes this can be a bit too warm. I've had it for a few years, probably 2. It can be a bit too warm. I prefer to be quite cool in my sleep, so having a whole set that is brushed cotton can make for quite a toasty sleeping environment. So again, see how much use I get out of it and we will decide later on. But yeah, just to reiterate, you don't have to declutter everything straight away, especially if you sort of find things, you remember why you bought them, you remember why you have them and what you enjoy about them, and you just want to give it a bit of a test run before making a decision, then that is absolutely fine. Okie dokie, so I am going to go and play around in my airing cupboard and see what sort of system I can put in place, and I will try a few things to see what works. As I've said, it's an awkward space, and then if I decide on something I will let you know and we'll go from there. And here we have the finished closet, looking so much better. So just a few things I wanted to point out. So first of all, it was really a priority for me to utilise this space at the top, despite the fact it's quite an awkward space to use. The shape of it wasn't great, and to leave this space at the front clear and clutter free, that was really important to me. Now, the solution I found was this item. So it was just a 6 cube storage thing. This actually only cost me £5, so this wasn't an expensive storage solution by any stretch. And the thing that drew me to it is I looked at the dimensions and I knew it wasn't going to fit in all of its glory, and I knew I wouldn't even get it in as a 2x2. I just knew that wasn't going to be an option because of these tanks here. However, I loved the fact that you could just disconnect the components, and if you just sort of work it to the space you've got, then as long as you don't mind if it's like, as I've got like an L shape, then it works absolutely fine. So one of my biggest pieces of advice would be, if you are looking for a storage solution to an awkward shape, then look for something that is flexible, that is adaptable, that you can change to suit your space. And this worked really well on a budget, and I was really, really pleased. The first issue I ran into was obviously this is slatted. And so just because nothing ever goes smoothly, does it? These did not fit perfectly onto slats. If I managed to get it to balance on a front one, it was falling down a slat at the back, and vice versa. If I got it lined up on a back one, it was falling down a slat at the front, which was really inconvenient. So actually what I've done, I'm not going to move it now I've got it in place, but I had these old lipstick storage things. So it's just 2 rows of 6 like empty slots where you would normally just store lipsticks in, and so at the back, I put them at the back so they're a little more out the way. I just plonked the back feet, one in each of the lipstick holders, because then the width of those meant that it was like a bridge over the slats, and so now it doesn't fall down. And so I've got these perfectly placed at the front, and then the back ones are balancing in lipstick holders, which I am not opposed to doing. I did originally have some old spare wood out the garage, but it wasn't wide enough, and I did have 2 pieces, and 2 pieces were too wide. They wouldn't fit, isn't it always the way? So that was a really quick and easy fix, and it was an item I was going to declutter anyway. Those lipstick holders were on my decluttering pile for the next time I do a big shift of everything that I wanted to get rid of, and so I've just repurposed an item that was going to be decluttered anyway, so that works perfectly fine for me. In the bottom 2 sections, I've got all the bedding sets nice and organised with all the sheets and pillowcases that you could need. So when I need to have a new bedding set, I can just reach in here, pull it out, and it's all there ready to go. And to keep on top of that, I just need to make sure when I do laundry, when I return a bedding set, I fold it all up together before putting it back in here. We've then got my towels and face cloths and my husband's towels and face cloths. I thought it was easier to manage if they were rolled up, because you can just pull out the one you want and you don't have to worry about sort of, if it's all stacked up and layered, sort of struggling to get the one you want and getting it into a bit of a mess. And I foresee this will get untidy, but at least then it's just probably going to be a small section that I've got to tidy up. And then right at the very top here, I've got the things that belong in our downstairs bathroom, so guest towels and face cloths and just the hand towels. We won't reach for the guest towels and face cloths very often, but we will be reaching for these hand towels because we do always have a towel in that downstairs loo. And that was the one problem with this system that I ran into is that if I rolled up those hand towels, because there is no additional edging here, I couldn't find a piece that would work. They were just rolling off here, so I did have to lay those towels flat, and I will just have to make my peace with that. But as a comparison, compared to where we started, I'm really pleased. I feel like it looks like we have far less, even though really I haven't decluttered an awful lot. It just looks so much more tidier. It will be easier to find what we're after, and it's just more functional and looks better. So all in all, I am really pleased. I'm just going to take you over and just show you a last toss up of the items I'm going to be decluttering, and then we'll wrap this one up. So these are the items I am decluttering, my vacuum cleaner not included. So I've got the bedding sets and the pillowcases there that I wanted to declutter. I've got some towels, face cloths just here, and I also found 2 old pillows that I was keeping as sort of emergency pillows, and I honestly don't think they are necessary, so they are also on the declutter pile. So I would say good, successful amount to have decluttered. It means there's less in my linen closet, and all in all, just feeling better about that. So that is me done for today and for this week's video. I am a bit warm. I think I'm in need of a drink after doing all that, but I am really pleased with how that declutter went. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, if you did like it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you wouldn't mind subscribing, it really helps my channel. And I really appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching. I will leave my Instagram on the screen. If you've got a moment, please go and check that out, and I will see you next week. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.